Welcome. Oh, wait. Brev, what are we doing?
Skull, skull, skull,
Skull.
skull,
How
skull,
did we forget?
skull.
We're just so used to winning now. And we
Yeah.
are so excited about winning that
You got it.
we
Yay,
just forgot.
yay,
We absolutely
yay,
forgot to do the thing.
yay.
The Minnesota Vikings, despite the efforts of themselves in the second half and the refs, which I'm sure we'll talk about, are 4-0. Sam Darnold is your NFL leader in touchdown passes, just
Still,
like everybody predicted. He's actually the only quarterback with more than 9.
he's out there by a little bit of a stretch. And yeah, I called it. I didn't. That was a lie. Nobody did.
Nobody did. But
Yeah.
you know what I did call, Brev, was even though you're miles away, and by miles I mean literally the other side of the country, I can smell your natural clean scent. Where's that
You
coming from?
2,000 miles may separate two men with a great bond over a football team, but it for sure doesn't separate you from being able to take care of yourself and smell good in the shower, on the go, in the morning, putting deodorant on. Don't matter. Dr. Squatch has got you covered. You can use that link down in the description for $10 off a purchase of $20 or more if you want to help the show out. If you stink, it's a win win, double win, just like beating the Packers when you think you're going to blow them out, but you don't. So you get the satisfaction that Packers fans are upset because they're down by 28 points, and then they think they can come back, and then that gets squashed. So double win, just like supporting us by using that link to get Dr. Squatch, and we can keep doing what we're doing. So smell like a man, smell like Skolcial. Does it feel like a man? Smell like I don't know. Just buy the stuff, please.
And there's nowhere better to smell. Actually, let's just look at the opposite. How many times have you been to an event and just the people around you smell terrible?
Mm-hmm.
We need you guys, our clean army of Squatch heads, to go out and to smell great at some sporting events, maybe some concerts. Use SeatGeek, maybe, just to get a good
Mm-hmm.
deal, as suddenly these Vikings tickets that were once projected to be extremely cheap for a bad team are now going up in price. Why not get yourself a deal, save a little money, and use code BREV or code JASONH on SeatGeek to save $20 off your first purchase? And again, with Dr. Squatch, when you're doing that skull clap, nobody's going to be covering their nose or fainting from the smell of death and uncleanliness. Um, let's hop into it. I there's only one way that I can think of to start this show to sum up yesterday. Obviously, I'm on the West Coast. Arizona doesn't change time, so currently I'm equal with the Pacific time zone.
Mm-hmm.
But this was around 11:15 my time, so 1:15 Central, where most of our listeners are located.
That's Eastern
Um,
time. Wait, no, you're completely. Never
no,
mind.
no,
Sorry.
I
Keep
am.
cooking. You're
Yes,
completely
that's
right.
how. Correct. Yes. Um, when I think we had a couple minutes left in the first half, Brev texted me, quote, "This is just so funny. I'm kicking my feet right now," smiling. And then at 12:53 my time, about halfway through the fourth quarter, Brev texted me, "I'm no longer kicking my feet. I'm no longer smiling."
Hmm.
I feel like that's the only way to summarize the emotions of yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday was fun. Then it sucked. Then it was fun again. But you still felt the sucking happening because you're like, I wanted to win by 28. Because I said on Bikes Now last night with Dakota and Dustin that I was most angry when we allowed that first touchdown. So like 2 years ago at the beginning of the KOC era, we were like, oh darn it, that team scored and they took the lead late in the fourth quarter. Now it's darn, that team scored. And that's kind of what I was feeling like at the end of the first half yesterday. And then of course the Packers started coming back and coming back. For a fan base that um accuses us of thinking that beating the Packers at Lambeau Field is our Super Bowl. I've never seen a crowd so relieved to score 7 points than that crowd right before halftime yesterday. So hopefully they can think about that and readjust their logic. But yeah, win is a win is a win is a win. That's four of them. We're on to London. We're on to London.
Our, took me a minute. I to even understand what you were attempting to say there.
We're on to London.
Look, we can talk about how fun that first half was because it was. We could talk about how terrible that second half was. But I think one thing that gets lost is like, yes, they were missing their two top corners, if you can even call him that. Jair ran away. Yes, Jordan Love wasn't fully himself, but the Packers are still far and away in every sense projected before the season to be a better team than us. We have not been favorites since week one. We're finally, I think, 2.5 point favorites next week. Um, that's the type of team that can make that type of comeback when you take your foot off the gas. I'll say this, and then I kind of want to, for the first time, I thought of something. Now I'm actually going to read it as we're recording and see if it makes sense. But typically, in just any era or any situation of Vikings football or NFL football, you usually have to lose a game to take away a lot of lessons. Because even though, you watch film after a win and yeah, you could have done this, you could have done that, the motivation quite isn't there because, we won, nobody's going to be perfect. I think yesterday was one of those games where in the film room, it's going to feel like a loss a little bit, which is, I think, what this team needs. I think you and I both said at different points, like, hey, if this team is going to be sustainable, we're going to lose a game at some point, but it's what we do with that loss. I think yesterday actually provides that opportunity. I won't talk about 2023 because that was such a weird fluke year where everything that could go wrong when it could did. But 2022 is a great example of a playoff Vikings team under KOC. Um, Lost week 2 by 17, came back and won the next week, and then went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game win streak. Lost 40-3 to Dallas, then beat New England and the Jets, lost to Detroit 1-2 straight. I believe the Detroit game was by 11, so still two scores. Got blown out by Green Bay by 24. So that was a team that had these ups, and then they'd get brought back to earth, reassess, go on a bit of a win streak, lose, get popped right back down to earth, right? Like, hopefully this game is like, hey, you know what? We almost let a 28-point lead slip away. We have a lot to work on. Let's identify those things heading into London and then really hone in on them during the bye.
Yeah, and you raise a good point that you can take a lot of lessons from this game because even Kevin O'Connell himself, after the game in his presser yesterday, like his voice was weird. I like he must have done a ton of yelling that we didn't see on the camera because his voice was like it sounded like he had been at a concert for like 8 hours, just screaming nonstop. He almost sounded depressed, but you could tell, and by his own admission, that there were some things to clean up for sure, especially from that fourth quarter, because neither team, it felt like the entire second half that Minnesota was kind of getting dominated in a sense, but that was just because they weren't scoring points like they were in the first half. In the third quarter, neither team scored any points. It's just that the Vikings offense stopped scoring, and then the Packers scored 22 of their 29 points in the fourth quarter. So, and by O'Connell's own admission, he knows there's things that are on him that need to be cleaned up as we move forward. And also, he mentioned that, and I lost my train of thought again. It was a really good point. Really good point. Hold on. It's coming back to me. Hold on. It's coming back to me. Really good point. Hold on. It's coming back to me. Hold on. It's coming back to me. Really good. Hold on.
Five,
I completely
four.
forgot what I was gonna say. Talk, and then
Anyways,
it'll come back to me. Hold on.
well, I think one thing that was noticeable in that second half was how desperately they were trying to get Aaron Jones a touchdown to the point where it even jeopardized play calling and decision making.
You is. Uh,
Are you just having a conversation with your own brain at this point to
Yeah,
try to
I
figure out what you have to
literally
say?
just thought of it because it was something he said. He said, we need to clean it up. Oh! He said, it's not that the offense stopped trying to be aggressive. His play calling remained aggressive. And it's easy to think that, well, they didn't score any points in the second half, really, so they didn't try. But you can kind of tell if you go back and watch it. They tried to remain aggressive, but Green Bay did a very good job adjusting to that style of play at halftime. I mean, Green Bay at that point had no choice but to try and fight back.
Or did I
So,
freeze? Somebody froze.
what?
It might not even be on the recording. We've had that happen, and I think it's me. It says my internet is bad all of a sudden,
Yeah.
which is
Mm.
wonderful. Great.
Arizona net.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, again, the Packers are a good team. Like, It was never going to be as easy as we made it look in the first half. Um, I do want to point out one thing because he's getting a lot of flack for how that second half turned out. But Sam Darnold still ended the game 275, 3 touchdowns, a questionable interception that probably shouldn't have been, but I'll count it because there was a dropped interception that probably should have been an interception on the first play of the game or
Yeah.
first throw of the game.
I don't take away
20
that interception because it's still a bad throw that deserved to be intercepted.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about with we're going to get an Aaron Jones touchdown no matter what. Literally having him run a streak down the field over the top interception leader in the league.
Yeah.
Like that was just and I get it. Like I love Aaron Jones, but like let's be smart here. 20 for 28, 275. Uh this is funny. A 123.4 quarterback rating. Um like
Nice.
he 17 rush yards, not the sexiest rushing numbers in the world, but like he moved
Vanilla
the ball
Vic.
when it counted. Yeah. He moved the ball when it counted. So like this is a situation where like Darnold still did well. Um I think I don't know if I have a fix other than just Kevin O'Connell making more adjustments as he sees the defense making adjustments. But overall, I mean, we won and we're 4-0, dude. Like, who the hell would have thought? I remember I told the listeners. I had to talk you into it a little bit, but I think is where we ended up meeting one game apart on our final projections, which is if we could upset either San Fran or Houston and split with Green Bay, this would be a playoff team. And we're
Yeah.
one step ahead, baby. We
Yeah.
beat both San Fran and Houston. And at worst, we're going to split with Green Bay.
If you predicted that the Vikings would be 4-0 by this point, you are either an insane fanatic or just wrong. Well, I guess you're not wrong. But like you would have been
You would have been wrong in the moment because there's
yeah,
no
you would
way.
have been that's a classic example of wrong in the moment, but it works out in the end. So I
Yeah.
guess I can't put too much on it.
This has become a weekly Twitter meme, but my conversation at Fanatics Fest with Roger Goodell and my picture I took with him in my McCarthy jersey, where I begged him to do us a favor, um, is now potentially a prophecy
Yeah.
and potentially proof the NFL is rigged.
The Skolcial network is the reason that the Minnesota Vikings are 4-0.
Yes. And what's crazier is you could have been there if your car didn't explode.
Yeah, and that was the plan. But luckily, the vehicle is the heat or the cooling system in the vehicle is very good to go. The thermostat's brand new, all replaced, new fan, new coolant hose. Catalytic converter is definitely not on the verge of death and not going to require some more money.
You started that
Please,
off sounding
please.
like you had no idea what you were talking about, and then you ended up
Bring on.
redeeming yourself. Because if you just say the word catalytic converter, suddenly you're officially a Scotial Network approved car guy,
Yeah,
sponsored by Dr. Squatch.
yeah, and like I said, that repair might be costly. I don't care.
So I went to Twitter. Brev didn't because he's still not on, but I don't think he can last much longer. That's what. Never mind. I asked you guys how we're feeling 4 weeks in and what you think the ceiling is for this team. Ross Weasley, I'm blind, just said yes. I told him, fair answer.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm being unrealistic, but I really thought we'd be 5-0 right now. Yeah, I mean, Kevin O'Connell needs to pick it up. I don't know how we don't have 5 or 6 wins already.
it's kind
Just
of
lazy.
ridiculous if you think about it. Zimmer would have. Kirk Cousins
Yeah,
would have.
100%. Earl response, feeling good. Two concerns. One, play calling, and both sides cannot go lax when we have a substantial lead. So I think, to your point, kind of what Kevin O'Connell said, juxtaposing that. But from a fan perspective, I can see where it looks that way. We've seen
Yeah.
over and over again through the years that it just kills momentum and allows teams to get back in games. I'm not convinced the strength of our interior offense. Not convinced of the strength of our interior offensive line.
Me neither. Like the offensive line, pass blocking wise, has actually been like bad.
Do you replace Ingram with Reisner?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Because that Ingram's not even that good at run blocking anymore, so I don't know what he is good at.
But he'll have 2 or 3 plays a game where he looks like a top tier guard, and then the rest he's just getting
where he just
Road killed.
mauls and then he gets mauled. It's a maul or be mauled world out there, and I'm not talking chopping
I
or
would
dogs.
say, I would say Reisner's biggest strength as far as like getting downfield and like playing through the whistle with actually having a decent running game now and a decent screen game could actually elevate things quite a bit.
They could. Very astute analysis.
One of my favorite usernames on Twitter, Splash Catchem. Incredible. Well
Nice.
played.
I
I
think
think
that's
nine
a
wins.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I hate you for that joke. I think 9 wins is their ceiling, which should be good for a wild card spot. I just think there's still some things we need to see before putting them in the top teams of the NFC, specifically if they can go back from being down in a game 7 to 14 points. So far, we haven't had to do that, though. It's not a
Very true.
bad thing. I mean, I get it. We're going to have to be actually behind at some point. I think right now we've only trailed for 3.5 minutes, and it was the beginning of that Giants game. It's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, I disagree on 9 wins being the ceiling and not being a top NFC team yet. I think they are currently in this year a top tier NFC team.
I think currently where we stand, they are the top NFC team.
Literally, even if the Seahawks win, we own more conference wins. So again, tiebreakers in week 4, just because we like to just take every win we can. I did
Yeah.
have a guy hit me multiple times saying, "Congrats on your 2-point win in the Super Bowl." I think he replied to me or other people 10, 15 times on my post. Same copy paste.
Congrats on his 10 or 15 Super Bowls.
Yeah. We will know a lot more once we see this team play from behind. That's from Skolcial. So that seems to be a common theme. I would prefer not to because we could just keep leading.
Yeah. Bold. That's a bold strategy there. See if
Yeah.
it worked out for him.
We'll see if we're good by not playing good a little bit. Hashtag free stuff, losing in the divisional round. But again, like if you were to tell me that seems pessimistic now, but if you told me before the season we would make the divisional round,
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Joe Williams breathing a sigh of relief after how close it got yesterday, but also I feel that the Vikings have established that they're the team to beat in the NFC.
Not yet.
Who would you say is?
I think it's still Detroit. So
Uh,
people are going to hate that, but through 4 weeks, Minnesota is the most impressive team in the NFL, not just the NFC. Long season.
yeah.
Long season. Detroit or San
Uh,
Fran?
well, same for, I mean, here's the thing. You send your star player to Germany and they find out he has, what is it? Achilles tendonitis in both?
Something like that, yeah.
In both!
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. Like,
Oh,
they're
well.
suddenly they're suddenly in a bad spot, and it comes down to Detroit's ability to play through Jared Goff's inconsistencies. I guess we'll see. I think a game just started actually a little bit ago.
Detroit and Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now. Detroit's about to go up 14.
Well, hey, good news. We're the last undefeated team in the
Mm-hmm.
NFC. You
Mm-hmm.
take the wins where you can, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
anything can happen in the offs. Just got to get there. Fair. I still say playoffs, maybe 2 rounds, but Super Bowl within 3 years. I mean, that's what they're pacing for. Again, this is a rebuild year.
Is the Vikings being good this year putting them behind track for the future?
I hate you. You love Twitter, but it doesn't leave you, I guess.
Yeah. Think about it. That's all I'm saying.
We
I'm
should
not saying
not be winning games. We should be focused on getting a top 5 pick.
we could have had Caleb Williams this year.
I'm glad we don't.
I'm glad
Uh,
we beat the Raiders 3-0, so it cost us a legitimate shot at Jaden Daniels.
I am so glad we won that game because I would have been really pissed
Yeah,
if I went to that game given the circumstances and we lost.
thoughts and
Jack
prayers.
Callahan, I think the Green Bay game highlighted some of our weaknesses, so the fact we can learn about those while still getting a win is fantastic.
So true.
Love that. Few more because there's a lot. Super Bowl or bust. No thoughts, just vibes. It's been a lot of fun. Keep up the consistency on both sides to stay healthy, and they'll be fine. Also, stop playing prevent. Got Andrew here with a prediction of 14-3, saying that the Lions, Falcons, and Packers are the biggest challenges left. Not sure if I'm sold on the Falcons, but then again, noon merchant Kirk Cousins at US Bank Stadium if that game doesn't get flexed. And look today, I think it's Chiefs Chargers that night. I still think it could get flexed.
Yeah.
That could be a massive game. 17-0 still. The prediction will change if the Vikings look next game how they ended this one. Bum 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 bum. Playoff bound. Need more help getting one-on-one pressure. Dun 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 dun. Calling the Super Bowl. I'm surprised, TBH. I was expecting a rebuilding season. I think we can get 10 wins.
Yeah. I mean, 10 wins should be the floor now. To get to 10 wins, you only have to go 6-7 the rest of the way.
That's so insane to
Put
think
that into
about.
perspective.
Well, let's find 6 wins and then we'll wrap it up. New York
Win.
in London.
Win. I can
Detroit.
see them dropping it, but win.
Detroit.
Loss.
At the Rams.
Win.
Colts.
Win.
Jags.
Loss. I know they gotta lose. They have to lose some games. Sorry, they have to.
Tennessee.
Win.
Bears.
Is that Monday night?
No. Sunday at Chicago, 11 a.m.
Win.
Cards.
I'm gonna go loss.
Falcons.
Win.
Bears Monday night.
Win.
At Seattle, which suddenly very confusing what that game is.
Loss.
Green Bay.
Loss.
Detroit.
Win.
You have us at 8, so we need 2 of those games. I mean, if we lose 2 of the games you predicted, we're still at 10 wins, and that's without a surprise win out of the losses you picked.
Yeah, and I know it sounds crazy me predicting that we're gonna lose to Jacksonville and Arizona and whoever else I predicted, but like I'm projecting that it's a long NFL season, which it is, and things are gonna change and stupid things happen. Stupid things happen in the NFL.
And if you
But
predicted those 2 being wins, we would have had like 14, 12 to
exactly,
14 wins.
exactly. Like breaking news: Minnesota's not going 17-0. Hate to break it to you. That
If
would
we
be
win
cool.
14 games this year, Kevin O'Connell is not only coach of the year, but should be put into the Hall of Fame now.
If we went 17-0, we would have lose the first playoff game. So for that reason, I want to lose some games.
I agree.
Boy math.
Boy math. So, do you know, well, you're significantly less online than I am. When do the Vikings leave? Tomorrow? Wednesday?
Buddy, I don't know. It's not up to the nerds on Twitter to figure out.
Well, I'm trying to remember what they did a couple years ago because I remember they left at night, didn't sleep intentionally, went straight to practice.
That's certifiably insane.
But it worked.
I
What the
guess.
training, I mean, but that was a different training staff, but I'm guessing that's just kind of league wide, kind of a typical thing we see now.
And they left out of London with one less ankle that they came there with.
It was a little more than an ankle.
Yeah, it was a lot of a lower leg.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've seen that play enough.
Yeah.
Think about it.
God, I know.
You
I'm
got one.
thinking of,
You
but
got
the
one.
problem is
You
I'm
got one.
thinking about the actual instant replay, and that was, oh
Yeah, I thought you were gonna
man.
come up with another pun.
Nah, I mean, I should just cut it, Lewis. But hey,
Yeah, that's fine. I had like 6 different options come to mind, but
hey, there's safety in numbers. What can I say?
that is very true.
All right, this joke is a bust at
Sometimes
this
you just
point.
got to play it safe. T.
Yeah, this joke is a bust.
Yeah, I think
We
we
got to
can.
draft. We got to draft up some new ones.
Yeah, I should
After all,
probably.
this joke thing is our trade. So,
Yeah, it's very
all right,
true.
we're gonna cut it there. We present to you the entire Lewis scene story
Yeah.
in terrible puns. That's the content you sign up for on a Monday night, as there's 2 Monday night games going on. So I'm really glad you're watching this instead of that. With that, we will be talking to you guys on Friday about the London game. Uh, I feel like these international games have effectively become Thursday night games, regardless of when they're played.
Yeah, I got to get to work because I work the next couple weekends, so I got to get to work early. Because that's kickoff at what? Dang, that's kickoff for you at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, I might even be going to a bar for it,
You're
so that would be
you're
interesting.
insane. You're insane.
I did it for the London game or not in the London game against the Saints a couple years ago. It's a Vikings bar.
Buddy.
We'll see, or I'll just wear my Vikings pajamas and sit on the couch.
You should do that. I'll be wearing my work uniform and sitting in.
DoorDash a 12 pack of assorted donuts from the local
Ooh,
donut shop.
and some Dr. Squatch.
Well, that's already in my
Uh,
bathroom cabinet. Why would I DoorDash Dr. Squatch
yeah, why would you? Because you can get the subscription on there. So you don't
using
have to
code
do that.
Skolcial?
Exactly. It's not the code,
Look at
but
it. Oh well,
that couldn't make a
damn.
code. Yeah, sorry.
Well, with that, I part of me missed the sadistic feeling of pain, misery, and nausea that the second half caused yesterday. But 4-0, the Vikings are undefeated, best record in the NFC. Probably looks like it's going to stay the same. No matter how sweaty it gets this weekend against the Jets, keep yourself smelling clean with Dr. Squatch. My kid is home and he sounds upset. He does not apparently have a lot of excitement currently. He is in his Viking shirt. Sent him to school in
Oh,
that because some kid in his class on Friday was in a Packers shirt, so I had to
oh
get him
no.
right today.
Had to get it back in blood.
Oh yeah. Well, we will see you guys on Friday. This is going to be an interesting week going against a Jets team that lost to Bo Nix, who had -7 yards in the first half, and I think ended with 60 total passing yards.
It's awesome.
Yeah, this is
Unfortunately,
going to be a weird week.
Sean Payton really got us. That asshole.
Yeah, how dare he? I God, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I cannot wait to see the eventual JJ McCarthy Bo Nix matchup in a couple years.
If Bo Nix is still in the league, and Sean Payton's not dead because he's older. I'm not. Legal reasons, that's a joke. Legal reasons, that's a complete joke.
Hopefully nobody has a bounty on him.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Friday.
Uh,